Hi, friends. Welcome back to today's episode of the Life with Loverly podcast. This episode is all about you guys, which I'm really excited for. We kicked off a series where y'all have asked, what would Brittany do? And we put up a few question boxes. We set up a voicemail recording and just asked for you guys to submit questions that you might want my advice on, whether that is like in a friendship, in your work life, in parenting, like whatever kind of problem you are running into. We've got lots of categories and lots of submissions. I'm really excited to answer some of these. Nichelle and I were reviewing some of these before, and I feel like I'm like, how honest do they want us to be? And I feel like very honest and blunt and kind of, we are looking at this as if we were telling each other.
Yeah.
I think is the best way to go about it.
I feel like they're asking because they probably do need or want the truth. You know what I mean? So,
well, and sometimes like the hard truth from somebody else is like,
like
you don't have to take my advice because I'm not going to hold you accountable and come through the phone or and be like, did you listen to what I said?
We're not going to be able to hold you accountable,
but as your friend, I want to give you some advice, and we just thought this could be kind of a fun episode.
Yeah, these are definitely some different questions than we've gotten in the seasons past, and I feel like some may be a little deeper than what we've normally seen, which, I mean, I'm all about if you are. Yeah.
I'm excited. I think this is a great way to, I would say this is like taking it to the next level in a friendship, where it's not just like, what's your favorite food? What's your this? Or get to know somebody. It's like, okay, like how can you help me like live a better life or make a better decision or
these
try
are real
something
life
new?
Problems that I really need to talk through with somebody. Agree.
And I think a lot of these are pretty consistent with like a lot of people might have some of these same things going on. So
I know I definitely saw a couple questions that I was like, I feel like we should include this because like I know that you might not be this age, but I'm this age and I have some thoughts on this.
Yeah, I love it.
So we asked, it was a couple of different categories that everything kind of fell in. And it kind of fell into parenting, maybe family, friends, life, relationship advice, and career advice. And then at the end, we have a couple of call-ins that we're going to go over. So
I'm excited for this.
Me too. This is a new thing for us. I'm excited. Okay, so let's start off with parenting. These are some of the emails and or like the question box answers or questions that we got.
Okay.
So, Brittany, I'm struggling with a situation involving other moms who are telling their kids not to include mine, and they also seem to ignore us. Any tips on how to deal with this without causing unnecessary drama?
I feel like my first thought is we need some new friends here. That, first of all, I don't know if they are, well, I guess other moms telling their kids not to include mine. I think this is also like a perfect example of teaching your child like, hey, this is how this makes you feel. Don't do this to somebody else, and kind of like reversing the situation. And it's just like a great learning opportunity or teaching opportunity for you. I hate that that's happening. I feel like, the cattiness, I don't know what the ages are here, but it's really sad that those moms feel like some type of pain in their selves that they're like putting that onto their kids.
Yeah.
Honestly, like I would like run the opposite direction from these people.
Agree. I think I hold this really near and dear to my heart, but like the apple doesn't fall too far from the tree. Like if you're having this issue with the parents acting this way, these kids are probably not the kind of kids that you want your kids to hang out with.
Totally.
This is something that we've personally gone through, unfortunately, with, now having a 19 and a 13-year-old.
Yeah.
My 13-year-old is currently going through this all the time.
Yeah.
It seems like every quarter of school there's something like this going on, but these are the kind of conversations you have to have with your kid and just be very honest. Like, not everyone is going to be nice, and are these really your friends? I'm going to be honest with you. It's not easy because dealing with your kids' feelings in the middle of all of this, it hurts. It hurts a lot. But I think you can't ask people to hang out with you if they don't want to.
Mm-hmm.
It's just, it comes down to that. Like, you don't want that for your children at the end of the day. I think you
Right.
want it now because they're hurting, but I think it's a bigger lesson in just like, hey, let's find people who really care.
Right. And I mean, you know, this might be an opportunity where you really have to foster that relationship with your child and be like, hey, I know that you think these are your friends and they're going to do something that seems really fun, but hey, you and I are going to go do something
Yeah.
like equally as fun or special, or let's, kind of take their mind off of it. But then that's like such a great bonding
Mm-hmm.
time for you and your child.
Agree.
But yeah, I just like this feels like toxicity
Yeah.
that is just unnecessary and not the type of people you really want your kids to be around.
Yeah, I agree. So the next one is, my daughter is not interested in any of my fashion advice I give her. How can I guide her style choices without turning it into a constant battle?
Ooh, this is kind of tough because I can only imagine. I mean, I have a 5-year-old is my oldest, who's really starting to be particular on what she wears. I can't imagine, a little bit older, but I do feel like if they already know they're kind of like going against what you want, they're probably like going to keep doing that because they know it's not what you want.
Yeah.
So I think within some guidelines and limitations, maybe like let them be expressive, or let them pick what they want. And then maybe for certain events, like you could say, hey, I'm letting you have free reign on what you're wearing here, here, and here. But I would really like if we could work together to do for this event or this event. I don't know. Have you dealt with that with the girls?
Every day.
Yeah.
I will say Maddie now has definitely come out of that on the other side. And she's like, oh, wait, you actually work in that industry. I should probably just trust your judgment, And she definitely follows you too. So that's different. But we went with it. We went through it with her, and we're still going through it with Bren. And I had to let it go.
Yeah.
It's so hard because I want my kids to, like, I always told Robert, I was like, the kids are a representation of us.
I say that a lot too.
Yeah. I'm like, at the end of the day, I don't want them going to school looking like a ragamuffin, but they've gotten to the point. I think this all depends on how old this kid is.
I agree.
First of all, you're buying their clothes. I'm just going to put it that way. I've had to have that conversation. Well, sorry, I'm buying your clothes. So if I buy it, you have to wear it. But I think I've learned through Bryn, my youngest, the hardest, because she has a lot of image issues, and I want her to be comfortable in her skin. And so I kind of had to just back off and say, okay, what makes you comfortable?
Yeah.
Like, let's have that conversation. What makes you comfortable? And it's like, okay, jeans and a t-shirt or shorts and a t-shirt. She doesn't want to show her body right now. I don't want her to if she doesn't want to. I want her to be confident at the end of the day. And I think that's probably the hardest lesson I've had to learn is, okay, well, I wouldn't want somebody to tell me what to wear if I knew I wasn't going to feel my best self going to school,
Totally.
or wherever. So it's, at the end of the day, I think that's even what we stand for here. Like, we want you to feel confident in what you're wearing. And at the end of the day, I think that you would want that for your kids as well.
Mm-hmm. I also think, like, could there be some other, like, underlying reason that she's, like, not wanting to take your advice? Is it the way that are you presenting what you want to her by just being like, you have to wear this, or this?
Yeah.
Like, I think there could be some underlying things to think about too as to why maybe she isn't taking your advice. Mm-hmm. And that could even be like hey, like, so let's just talk about this. It feels like anytime I make this suggestion, you don't want to, or you like something else. Like, why is that? Is it the way I'm talking about this? And some of that might give your daughter like an opportunity to be like, oh wow, like she wants to have this kind of like a really honest, open conversation, and you have to be willing to take the feedback.
Right.
It doesn't mean that like whatever she says is going to be like the new way, because you're still the parent at the end of the day. But sometimes I feel like the way we talk to our kids, and it just seems like, well, I'm your mom, you have to do it this way, is maybe not always the approach, when it could be like, hey, like, I see that you're not liking this. Like, why not? Like, let's talk about it. Is it the way I'm approaching this? or what is like kind of the root
Yeah.
to this?
Think of when we were kids. If our parents told us to do something, it was like, well, of course I don't want to do it.
Right.
You know? So you just have to put yourself in that mindset again. Like, and also reverse psychology, I feel like is
Yeah.
definitely a thing. I've definitely played that in my favor.
Totally.
I'm like, I don't really care for that. And they're like, oh, it's cute. And I'm like, cool, let's buy it.
It's so funny. I went through this phase, I feel like probably middle school. And it was like, or maybe, middle school when I was like starting to wear some makeup.
Mhm.
Like, and I remember doing like blue
I
eyeshadow.
remember the
Like,
story.
and my mom, like at first she kind of like just let it go but she was like definitely concerned. I remember her being like, "What are you wearing?" And then I would be like doing it in the car and she'd be like, okay, I could tell she was thinking like, how can I like nicely encourage her to maybe like do a little less or and so then she finally was like, "Hey, I think that like I love where you're like expressing yourself here and if this is really what you like, but like maybe let's talk about other ways to do that or I don't think you need to do it like as high." And then I kind of was like, "Yeah, you're right. I don't really know what I'm doing. Like what do you suggest?" Because she let me do it a few times and then made the
Yeah.
suggestion.
Yeah.
So it kind of felt like I also was like questioning myself, like, is this really good or right? So I think sometimes like it kind of like people learn by mistakes.
Yeah, exactly. I also think by praise too.
Mhm.
The thing that I've had to work on with my youngest is like complimenting her on things
Yeah.
that I think are better for her figure.
Yeah.
Because she's in that little like weird, middle school. Ugh,
Totally.
it's weird, it's awkward. And so if she wears something, I'm like, "Oh, you are so cute today."
Yeah.
She'd be like, "Really?" I'm like, yeah. So it encourages kind of like that same
Yeah.
thing, oh, well, she said I was kind of cute the other day. I might want to
Right.
wear something like that again.
Totally.
It's a learning. It's, kids are hard.
Yeah. Yeah. That's what like the manual should say.
I know.
Kids are hard.
hard.
Good luck.
Exactly. Okay, so another one. I am a mom of daughters. I really value raising both strong and independent daughters. Do you have any tips for fostering their confidence and resilience as they grow?
Man. I think just like encouraging them. I mean, I would even encourage them to like start figuring out like a set of values, like core values for them personally. Even like, I mean, start having those conversations like 9, 10, those like times where it's just like, hey, you have this opportunity to like grow into this great person. And here, like, even just give them a list of like values and core, like words that like they could live by. And some of them you might have to explain. I mean, everything is such like a learning opportunity, I feel like, as a parent. But I think like letting them pick like, oh, I do want to be a kind person. I do want to be like somebody who gives grace. I do want to be known as patient or trustworthy or loyal or a good listener. Like all of these like type of core value words are so like positive and affirming. And so I feel like it's a really great starting point to be like, pick some words that you want to align yourself with and like let's talk about this. I want to hold you accountable. Okay, like let's work together, so then we always talk in my house about like using our words kindly because right now 5 and 4-year-old are just like bantering back and forth, but they're starting to kind of say some things where I know they picked up on a show or like maybe a friend in school, and I'm like, that's not a really kind way to use our voice. Like, don't you think somebody's feelings might be hurt if you say that to them? I know you're saying that to your sister because you're upset, but, kind of talking through, I mean, obviously that's like a dumbed down level for like a 4-year-old to understand. But I feel like that's a great place to start. And that's just going to like continue. You can keep building on that.
Yeah, I agree. I think that when I think of this question, I think of our self-talk as adults and what they're hearing. Because that's going to be what's ingrained into their mind. And I have not always been the best about my self-talk. And it's taken trial and error of like Madison hearing and then saying some of the things I know she's heard me say.
Right.
ugh, and it is a punch to the gut. So it's hard. It is so hard to sometimes remind yourself, okay, I need to be kind about
Yeah.
myself in front of them, even though I don't feel that way right now, because they are going to take that to heart. They're going
Right.
to think, okay, well, I should feel that way about myself too. If my mom
Right.
doesn't have confidence in herself, then I probably shouldn't either. So that's been something I know I've had to teach myself over the last probably decade
Yeah.
with
So
them.
leading by example,
Mm-hmm.
I mean, if you're wanting to raise or foster their confidence and resilience, like showing them
Mm-hmm.
what that means, like living out what that means. So they take that as like a living example of like, oh,
Yeah.
I want to be just like my mom because she was
Yes.
confident. Like
Yes.
she, I mean, I think there's so many things that you
Yeah.
could just live out and then teach them along the way.
Mm-hmm. I mean, just going back to the question before that, fashion, for example, if you say out loud, you're picking up clothes and you're like, this is so cute, but I could never wear that because
Right.
I'm not the right body style or body type, or that's simple. That
Mm-hmm.
little thing right there could implant,
Totally.
something in their head. So,
I mean, I think it's also like the way the message is delivered. Going back to the fashion, I have a friend and her mom was just like super condescending, very negative, would always judge just like everything she was wearing. She would walk down the stairs and she would feel good about what she was wearing. And her mom would immediately be like, "You're not going to wear that, right?
Yeah.
Like, that is way too short. You are not like, ew, turn around. Like,
Yeah.
no, that's not it." And so then she just immediately lost
yeah.
all of her confidence because, she left her room feeling good about herself, feeling like this is how I want to be perceived today and I
Mhm.
love this. But then her mom is the one that tore her down
Mhm.
because of whatever was going on with her.
Mhm.
But, so that's not leading by example.
No, not at all. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So family, friends, life. This one is I really need some advice on how to handle my toxic in-laws. They are competitive, condescending, selfish, and fake, but cutting them off isn't an option for us. Any tips on how to navigate the situation while keeping boundaries and without entirely losing my mind?
Um,
I think that
SOS.
you asked me a really great question. Now, did I take that advice? No, because I couldn't find it in myself.
I know.
But I think that it's a great place to start.
Yeah.
The advice you offered the other day. What was that?
Was it when I said, have you like forgiven?
Have you ever thought about forgiving her?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I mean, we don't have to get into the situation, but in answering this question, have you thought about just like forgiving them for that behavior?
Mm-hmm.
I think this is really hard. And I do understand that like cutting them off might not be an issue, but I think that it's okay to set boundaries that are going to serve you and your family.
Mm-hmm.
And you do not have to, do things that you don't feel comfortable with just because it's family and
Yeah.
you're supposed to. I think that is like something that people just are like, oh, well, it's family. We have to. Like, we have to go on this
they
vacation.
Feel obligated.
Yes.
That it's like, oh, well, it just has to be this way.
You set the tone
Yeah.
for like your family.
Yeah. I feel like emotional boundaries are a great way to start. This is something that I've had to like teach myself, that something was said that really hurt me.
Yeah.
It very much hurt me, and it took me a very long time. Like, I'm not over it necessarily, but I have figured out that there is a way for me to set up a boundary of emotions.
Yep.
So I can allow myself to get upset by those things that are said, or I can say, you know what they're saying, it's not relevant to me. This is definitely something that's on them, and I have to just wash my hands of it.
Yeah. And it does take a second to get to that, but I feel like once you can comfortably be like, you know what, this is a them problem. Like nothing that I do, nothing that I say is going to change that, because that has to be something they want to change on their own. However, I can control how much I am around them. I can control how much my kids are around them. I can control some of those things that are going to affect your like core family's life and just like the things that they see. I know somebody who kind of had to take a step back from doing some things with some of her family members, and she was like, they aren't going to understand it. And that's okay. I'm okay with knowing I'm doing what is best for like my core family group. And that I really was kind of like, okay, like that is so true. We don't have to. And it does feel like you have to go on vacation. You have to go do this and be miserable. And like every time we do this, it's the same thing, like the misery. But I don't think you have to live in that cycle. And I think it's okay to set boundaries and just be like, we're not available for that right now. Yeah. We've got other things going on.
I get that too, because also it's there. Sometimes the other family member, let's just say it's the husband, might not feel it's toxic because it's maybe the way they grew up.
Known.
It's all they've known. And I understand that. Like, I totally get that. This might be a her thing, you know, it's external and he's not seeing it. So that's hard to feel like you can't set boundaries because the spouse is like, I don't understand what the problem is, you know, you shouldn't feel this way. That maybe that's the case in this. I don't know. We don't know a whole lot about this. We're only seeing it from the one side, but I mean, I can kind of relate to that too, that it's like, you don't want to hurt your spouse in the process.
Totally.
And so I think that it has to be a mindset switch if that's the case. If you don't want to hurt the other, you have to make a choice. And it has to be, your mindset has to change about it. And you know what? If it's that toxic, say something, you know, and I feel like you could choose to say something very, like in a very pleasant way or a nice way, but also get your point across that, hey, that hurts. That hurts when you say stuff like that. Like, can we just stay away from maybe that topic? I'd rather not feel this way whenever we're having this kind of conversation. But yeah, I mean, it's never easy. Family is hard sometimes, you know?
Yeah, it's definitely like the mindset shift and knowing where you yourself falls in. Like, I think like going into a situation, like let's say you're about to go over to a barbecue and you know, like the condescending conversations, just like that is about to come in. You almost have to like check yourself at the door, take a deep breath and be like, okay, I can handle this. This is 2 hours. We're giving ourselves a limit here. I'm going to let what happens in here roll off me. Yeah. This is water beads on a waterproof jacket. Yeah. Like, this is not soaking in. I am not taking this to heart. And some of the stuff, like, it's all on them the way that and you cannot control that. Yeah. But like telling yourself those things before you enter the situation can kind of keep you level-headed throughout the whole time. Yeah. And then, you know, you have a different experience.
Yeah. Yeah. I would say like a very like silly example, but one thing is politics comes up all the time. And I don't enjoy that. That's something that really is not comfortable for me to have with them. And so if it comes up, I'm like, I'm gonna go to the other room while you guys have this conversation because I know that this is important to you guys, but I'd just rather not be included. I'm just gonna go pop over here with the girls, you know, or whatever.
Right. It's respectful. Yeah. It's like, y'all have this conversation.
I'm not saying stop or whatever, but like, I'm gonna remove myself because this is not giving me life right now. Right. So.
Yeah, like you have to be selfish with like it's okay to be selfish with what is going to serve you.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly. Okay, I'm recently feeling like so many significant aspects of my life aren't working out time and time again. It's definitely making me feel lost and a bit unsure overall. Any advice on how to keep pushing forward?
When I first read this question, I thought about just like mindset work and just kind of, you know, it's one of those things where if you just keep thinking like it's not working out again, it's not working out again.
Woe is me.
Yeah. I interviewed Jen Bowie on my podcast a few years ago, and we talked about the victim versus the victor mentality. And there were so many tidbits there. And it's one thing that like always stuck with me was it's not happening to me, it's happening for me. So while it might seem like there's things like aren't working out time and time again, is like maybe it's not working out because it's like protecting you or because there is a better situation that's coming. And I know when you're in the situation and the time of when like a lot of things aren't happening, it's kind of hard to be like,
Yes.
okay, my time's coming though. I mean,
Exactly.
so like I want to be clear that like you can have that time of just like, what the heck?
Yeah.
But know that something better is coming. But that episode would be a great one to go back and listen to. We'll link it in the show notes. Because I think it can really kind of help reset what your outlook is. And maybe even like spending some time like journaling or thinking, like reevaluating, like what is it that you're wanting out of life? Like it's making you feel lost and a bit unsure overall. Like maybe now's a good time to like set some new goals or just like write some things out that really get you thinking on what track are you on? Is your vision for your life clear right now? Have you identified like what you're wanting? Because that feeling of lost and like unsureness could be coming from like there was no like direction to start maybe.
Yeah. I feel like and this is only easy for me to say because I feel like I have been in this position before, but inaction is no action at the end of the day. If you don't take action and you don't do something about it, you will never move forward.
Right.
Things will never get better. So at the end of the day, I think it comes from a lack of like vision.
Yeah.
It comes from a lack of just not knowing, being unsure. And so to her point, writing things down, knowing what your goals are, what do you want out of life?
Yeah.
If you have like some clarity on that, I think moving forward will be a lot simpler at the end of the day.
Totally.
All right, we're going into relationships. After being married for 9 years and then flying solo for the past 4 years, I've decided I'm ready to put myself back out there again. I'm 40 and feeling mixed feelings of excitement and nerves. Any advice as I start this new chapter of my life?
I mean, I kind of think similar advice to what we just said. Like, what are you wanting out of this next step? Are you like looking for another relationship? Are you looking to just have fun? Kind of once you identify what that might be, I feel like that will give some direction. I mean, obviously it's probably scary, but
good for you.
Yeah.
I'm sitting here reading this going, good for you.
Like, let's go, girl.
Go have some fun. So
I do think like, nerves, of course, play a role. Also, I guess it's been like 13 years since you got married. Like the dating game is different than it was 13 years ago. So, and who knows how long you were dating this person before that. But, so I do think there are like some different challenges, but giving yourself grace.
Knowing you're not alone.
Yeah.
I feel like that's something that I think anybody getting back into the game knowing that you're not alone at the end of the day. There are other people out there that have probably gone through the same kind of walk of life as you that are having to learn this all over again as well. So you're not alone. And
I think like there's still so much life to be lived after 40.
I know.
Like it's like don't let it be like, oh, now I'm in my 40s and like dating again.
Yeah.
I feel like, okay, great. Like
you know who you are now.
Yeah.
I mean,
you probably know what you don't want.
Exactly.
So stick to those things and,
exactly.
Good luck.
Exactly.
Enjoy yourself.
For real. All right. I'm in a situation where the guy I'm dating says he wants to be with me, but isn't sure of a future together. I'm completely torn. Do I stay and hope things could change, or should I be running in the opposite direction? Help.
So I think I would say probably like let it go, because the person you're supposed to be with, like there's not going to be like I'm comfortable now, but like I don't want this forever. Like when you're with your soulmate, you will be like, I don't ever want it to go a day without you by my side.
This means to me, I'm reading this going, he hasn't made right now and he kind of doesn't want to mess that up. So he's just like,
Yeah. Like it sounds like he's comfortable. I mean, and I do think there's a hard kind of part here where you're probably comfortable too. Like hey, you're just in this comfort zone and
Mhm.
it's like, okay, it's not great, but but what if it could be so much better?
Yeah.
What if like your wildest dreams about like what your relationship and like marriage and like forever with somebody
Yeah.
is just so much more than somebody who's not even really sure if they want to commit to you forever.
Right.
So it kind of feels like I would probably just be like, hey, your time is better spent finding somebody who does want to be with you forever.
Yeah. Don't go down the road of maybe I can change him because it never works.
Yeah.
It doesn't work.
I used to be like a fixer. I
Yeah.
would like get these boyfriends and be like, oh, I got this. Like, I
Yeah.
love a project. Like, and
Make them
that was
chase
never.
you. Make them chase you. I'm all about that. Mind you, I did not have the dating, life beforehand. I've been with Robert way too long, but it's forever. But the thing is like, want the romance story.
Yeah.
Want the happy ending.
Yeah.
You deserve it.
Totally.
So wait for that.
Yeah.
All right. I recently ended a 2-month relationship with an amazing guy because I really had no romantic feelings for him. Now that's over, I'm really missing him. Any advice on what to do? I'm so conflicted. I feel like this goes with what you just said.
Guess like, are you missing him or are you missing like somebody?
Yeah.
Because, 2 months. I
You
think
should
you
feel
would
the
kind of
butterflies.
know. Yeah.
Like there should be excitement
like
in 2
it
months.
shouldn't be like, okay, I'm still waiting for like
Yeah.
this to come. Like maybe he was just like friend zone material, but I would probably bet that you're just missing like having somebody to do the,
Yeah.
go out with and hang out or text or whatever. So I think I would ask yourself, like, am I really missing him or am I missing just like the thought of him or somebody? And I would just keep searching.
Yeah. Career and work. Okay, we're going into that. I'm struggling to cope with a difficult female boss at work. Their behavior is making it really challenging day to day and also for me to succeed in my role. Any tips on how to deal with the situation without making things worse?
That's tough if they're your boss. I mean, I think I'm a big proponent of like sitting down and having an honest conversation and just being like, hey, I don't like the way you're treating me, or hey, you made me uncomfortable there, or just kind of like having that confrontation. I mean, it's going to be super uncomfortable. I've had difficult conversations. I mean, you've had to pull me aside before and be like, hey,
Yeah, it's
you
never
said this
fun.
and it hurt my feelings or it made me feel this way, and
Right.
I think a lot of the times they might not even know that what they did or said was negatively affecting.
Yeah. But they'll never know if you don't speak up.
Totally.
And they'll never change their behavior. I think if that's something I've learned over the years is you can keep it pent in all day and your life is going to be difficult daily. Or you can choose to maybe word it a certain way. Like there's a way to go about giving feedback to somebody who is being challenging without it being nasty.
Yeah.
And I think that's what a lot of people struggle with. I think that's what we've learned
Yeah.
just having a team is people are scared that confrontation is nasty.
Right.
And it doesn't have to be. It could
No.
literally come from like the bottom of your heart. Hey, look, I've been really keeping this in and I just need to have this conversation with you because I feel like things could be a little bit better if I just tell you how I'm feeling. X,
And
Y,
then
Z.
it like 9 times out of 10 is like, I had no idea.
Exactly.
Or absolutely like, thank you for bringing this to my attention. I'm
Right.
going to make a shift to make it better.
Right.
So I would say starting there. And then if that for some reason doesn't work, if there's somebody else, like either a peer boss
HR.
or higher up
Yeah.
that you could discuss if it's something that's like affecting, like if they're not listening still, or, if they're not taking the feedback, I think being honest and being true, like they should respect that.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
that's where I would start.
Also, know that if you're feeling that way, maybe other people are too, and you could be the person that could change that.
Right.
So, all right. I am currently on a career path, but having doubts about it all. Not sure if I truly love it or that it's what I want to be doing. Any advice on how to navigate this and figure out what my next steps would be?
I think like, again, making like kind of like a vision list for yourself or setting like some goals and just really spending the time to think about like, what do you want your life to look like? And then working backwards from there, like, how am I going to get there? Is this career path I'm on a place I want to be? And I do think if you're kind of, let's say you took this route and now you're kind of on it and you're having doubts, then you're having doubts for a reason.
Yeah.
So there's probably some things that spending some time in reflection mode on like what's really going on here can probably help you answer some of those. Like, is it too late to like make a move? I don't think it's ever too late.
No.
But I'm sure depending on what it is, you can, if you do this sooner rather than later, that will probably help. Yeah, I mean, I think it's Liz from Repurpose Photography. When we did her episode, she gave these 4 questions that she like lives, like makes a decision by. Like when she's thinking of making like a big life decision, she asks herself these 4 questions. And I don't remember what they are off the top of my head, but going like that would be a good episode to go back and listen to, because she made some like career changes. She was a nurse and then like left nursing to become a photographer, or I think she left to originally like stay home, and she was really conflicted. And so she asked these 4 questions, and then like that's what she stuck with. But they were really like deep, made her think.
Yeah.
So I think even just like starting there and really like figuring out like internally is a great place to start. And then like you will probably get some answers from there.
I feel like life is too short to sit in this place of like not being happy.
Yeah.
Just wouldn't you rather be happy?
Right.
Make a move. If it doesn't feel right, it's probably not right.
Totally.
So, yeah. Okay. This is the last one in career and work. I was a teacher for 6 years and left teaching last May. In December, I got my dream job working with an interior designer. My role is technically an assistant role, but we're growing pretty fast and taking on a lot of clients. She has mentioned that she sees me as more of a project manager, and I'm so excited and interested in that. I really want her to start seeing me in that role sooner rather than later. A lot of what I do now is what a project manager would do anyways. I'm also hoping it comes with a pay increase. She's a 1099 employee. Doesn't really need a whole lot other than just looking for some PTO time. What would you recommend I do next to get her to see me in this new role? And how can I negotiate for higher pay within that role? And all advice is welcome. Obviously, she adores you. She went on to talk about how she loves your business mind and everything.
Okay. Wow. This is a lot. But I love it. I think like if somebody, like if she's already mentioned that she sees you as more of a project manager, like show her that you can take on that side of things. Like show her that you have what it takes. Start taking on some of what those things are. I think especially if a lot of it is what you're already doing. I do think at some point you will need to have a conversation where it's just like, hey, I have here's a list of things that I've done in the past that I feel like warrants a raise. I would really love to have a conversation about becoming a W-2 employee or having like the benefits of like the full-time employment with a PTO. I would also like to see myself at X amount for my salary. And you can go into it as like, hey, I'm not expecting this like raise to happen right now, but like, here are my goals.
Yeah.
Here's like where I want to be.
Yeah.
Can you help me figure out like, what does it look like? Is that like a year from now? Is that 6 months from now? And who knows, they might be able to do it now.
Right. This feels kind of similar to like some things that you and I have gone through. Because like just with growth, things like this are going to happen.
Totally.
I think that at the end of the day, you always want to show up.
Absolutely.
The person that you want to be in that role and do the research. Like that's one thing I think that we've learned here in this business is like, okay, what does that look like? What does that entail? What do these kind of people make? Do your research and
Right.
go to her with this information. Hey, I did some research. I'm going to tell you the things that I love doing and the things that I would love to find you help doing so we can step away from this so I can help you in a more effective way.
Mm-hmm.
This is the pay scale that on average, blah, 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 blah. Go to her with that. She might not have time to sit and think about this kind of stuff right now, but if you offer that help, I mean, that might be the key.
Yeah. And just showing like your value, you know? I
Mhm.
mean, you're offering a value. She's probably doesn't want to lose you. You know,
Mhm.
she's not going to have time to train somebody else and get, you know, them up to speed. And I think it's a great like opportunity to see kind of like where she is. And maybe then she will say like, hey, now is not the time, but in 6 months from now, we will definitely like do an increase or
Mhm.
something.
Mhm.
But then you at least know, okay, like here's what I'm working for.
Yeah.
So again, just being open and having that conversation is a great place to start.
Yeah. These are great questions.
Yeah, they really are.
Yeah. So we're going to get into, we opened up a hotline almost,
Yeah.
and had
I'm
a few people.
excited.
I know we had a few people call in. We picked a couple of questions that we thought were really fun that we really wanted to answer. So we are going to play those now and get those answered.
Hi, I am in my 40s and I just moved to a new city and I'm having trouble making new friends. And I was wondering if you happen to have any advice on things I might be able to go do where I can start connecting with other women that are around my age. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
I just want to like
I
give
know.
you a hug.
Well, she sounds like a fun person.
I
I want to
know.
hang out with her.
Man, okay. I think moving to a new city is hard. And then like making friends, you know?
Yeah. I feel like Elizabeth, didn't she talk about this
Mhm.
on the podcast last season?
Yeah. You do kind of have to be willing to put yourself out there.
Yeah.
Yeah. It can be tough, but I do think, you know, like, what are you interested in?
Mhm.
Like, you know, going and doing those things, being with people who have like like-minded interests will be there. Not being afraid to just like step out and say like introduce yourself. I feel like I'm such like a hermit when it comes to like going to a workout class. I'm like, I don't want to talk to anybody. I just want to like sit here,
Yeah.
do my workout, pack my
Yeah.
stuff and leave. But that's like a great opportunity to just be like, hey, like, do you come here a lot?
Yeah.
You know, I be vulnerable and honest. Like, I just moved here. I am, you know, I'm looking for a new workout group. Like, are there any other times you guys like to come to? Whatever.
Mhm.
I know there's a few apps. What's the friend? There's like a friend app that I feel like would be, I
I'm
don't
the
know if
wrong
it's
person to ask.
Hinge or there's one that's like, oh, Bumble. It is like friends. Like it's like
Oh.
you get on and you're like solely looking for like friends.
Well, you just taught me something because I did not think that's
Yeah.
what Bumble was.
Yeah. I remember I sat in like at a conference and the like creator of Bumble talked about why she created it. And it was just like, it's hard to make friends.
Yeah.
Like if you're in a new city or you're like, you know, or just wherever you are in your life.
Mm-hmm.
But this kind of helps.
Yeah.
So,
and I don't know, maybe if it isn't awkward to befriend coworkers,
yeah.
you know, maybe ask somebody to go out and have a drink or go have dinner after work. Church, maybe if you
Totally.
have like, you know, a church that you found that you can go. I mean, I'm sure there's probably classes that are for adults that,
Yeah.
you know,
just like do stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Another way I think like volunteering or just
Mhm.
thinking of like things you could go do in the community. I know we sort of talked about like joining a workout class or whatnot, but like what are your common interests or
Yeah.
what interests do you have? Like that might be somebody else's common ground too.
Right.
And then like saying yes to
Mhm.
if somebody asks you to do something, like say yes, because you never know. They might know somebody and then you become friends with that person.
Right.
I feel like if you're married, like doing couple things, you know, with your spouse or maybe like also like being on the same page with your spouse, like, hey, like you talk to your coworkers, I'll talk to mine. Like,
Yes.
let's get like a coworker meal on the
Yes.
books or something like that.
Yeah.
But it also has to come with you like agreeing to do it. I
Mhm.
feel like we're in such a culture where it's like you really like want to make plans and do things, but also like staying in and like being
Sounds great.
comfortable
Right.
sounds
Exactly.
great too.
Yeah.
But yeah.
Hi, Brittany, it's Michelle. My daughter's getting married in September, and I'm wearing a gown with a one shoulder bow detail. I'm not sure what to do with my hair, which is shoulder length. Should I put it up or put it off to one side? I'm also not sure what accessories to wear because I don't want it to get too busy at the top. Maybe just earrings? What are your thoughts?
Hi, Michelle. I love this. Okay, so one shoulder detail with bow. I would either do your hair to the opposite side if there's some way you could do like a pinned back, um, really kind of like, I don't know, I would kind of almost do like a bigger something to the side, the opposite side of your bow. So kind of give that like a slick back side. Hopefully that coordinates with like where your part falls,
Mhm.
where the bow is. Um, I think you could do like a simple earring, especially if you do have your hair pulled to the other side, which is going to kind of like balance you out. I would probably say no to a necklace just because you are going to have the bow and then one shoulder, it will probably like cut you higher than where you would really want a necklace to sit. So I would do some type of like earrings that are maybe really sentimental to you, or if there's like an heirloom that you have in your family, or maybe like a pair of earrings that somebody on your side like passed down to you, that could be
Mhm.
like a really special time to show those off and wear. Um, but I would either say like hair pulled over to the side, like kind of behind your other ear, or pulled back altogether, and just really letting the bow be the statement, but simplicity, just so that, you don't want to take away from your daughter. You just want to like enhance what she has going on there with you having like this simple beauty that
Yeah.
you can create with your dress and with your hair to the side.
Yeah. Would you wear, because I immediately go to, oh, I'd probably wear some bracelets then. Because, like, this is
Yeah.
going to be very simple up top because you are
Mhm.
giving that bow its moment, but, like, maybe some bracelets if that's where
Yeah.
you wanted to wear, if you wanted to wear jewelry.
Yeah, I do think maybe like some type of bracelet, depending on like how elegant and formal the wedding is, would really kind of depend on what I would
Mm-hmm.
show there. But maybe just like one bangle that is some type of like clear, like crystal or something that can really like let the dress shine through it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean, and then even like a fun beaded clutch could be something fun that you would carry with you. I don't know what the texture or color like of the dress is, but sometimes like some type of like clutch could just be an easy accessory to add on that you're carrying, but it's not like it doesn't have to be part of your outfit if you need to set it down for photos and things like that. That could just be like a good add-on if you want to add a little something more glam.
Yeah. And congratulations to your
Yeah,
daughter.
that's very exciting.
Hi, Brittany. I am newly a mama of two, and with summer and warmer weather coming, I'm just trying to figure out how to dress this new postpartum body and really be able to embrace this new body that was able to birth two kids and is now nourishing a baby. And I was wondering if you have any tips for feeling confident in dressing your new body and also just embracing your body while you're in this postpartum season. Thank you.
Okay, well, first of all, congratulations. It's exciting. It is like such a roller coaster. I feel like I remember feeling so lost when I was postpartum on just like, what am I going to wear?
Yeah.
I feel like it was really hard for me because I'm like, what am I going to wear? What am I going to tell people to wear? Because people were looking to me. I'm like,
Right.
what are you wearing? And I would just feel like, I just want to wear like a nursing tank all the time. 'Cause,
Yes.
like in 3 hours, I'm going to be here again.
Exactly.
I think really just paying attention to like what are those pieces that you are comfortable in. Like let's nail those items down. Like what are some, if you could pick like 3 items in your closet that you're like, I love this button down dress. It's easy to nursing. It's like, or I love a certain style of dress because it's also what you wear after you have kids and like what your postpartum self is wearing does not have to become your future identity for dress.
Agree.
Like,
Agree. I feel like in that moment you don't
yes.
realize that, but I see it, and I also felt it. Like in that moment, you're like, oh my gosh, this is the new normal.
Yeah.
And it's not. It's a season.
It doesn't have to be forever.
Mhm.
So maybe you're not a fan of like flowy dresses, but that's what you feel most comfortable in. It's summer, it's hot, you want some like flowy, airy type of things. Just give yourself grace and be okay with like, this is what I'm wearing in this season. And then hold yourself accountable to like, once you are feeling more like yourself or you are in a place where you're like, I want to like try some other trends or I want to try a pair of high waist pants and, a cute top, you can do that. You're not like only going to be held to like flowy dresses from here on out.
Yeah.
But because sometimes it feels like that. You're
It
just
does.
like, all I'm wearing is, sweaters and it's just like nothing feels comfortable. You just feel like you don't look great.
Yeah, you kind of feel frumpy afterwards because you're wearing loose stuff because you're swollen, up top. You're feeding a kid every 3 hours. There's so many moving parts to that first couple of years after having kids that get it. We all get it. I think we all kind of left, like it was a fog for most of us. I think we kind of just were like, what are we doing? What is life? But I remember feeling like I am forever changed now because like my body's never going to be the same. Well, guess what? It's okay. You had children.
Yeah.
Your body went through a lot, so it may not be the same, but you can embrace the one that it is after you have those kids.
Totally.
We got a lot of these questions, even just those that weren't in the postpartum, I think, phase of life. They were just like, I want to find my style. Like, what do I do?
I think it's also like a great time to like play with different pieces that can be added on. So like a sweater, or like, so let's say you're wearing like a nursing tank and you can add on like different sweaters over that. You can style that with like a skirt, with pull-on shorts, with jeans, with a maxi skirt, and then like always have your denim jacket, always have like a little like lady jacket sweater that has like the cute gold buttons that you can button up and wear with your pants. But then when you need like the functionality of like being able to nurse, you can unbutton it. Think of like how clothes can work for you in this season. It is going to take a little bit of planning.
Yeah.
Like there's no like magical formula of like, okay, you're going to go out and you're going to buy this and this and this. And then you're going to like, put these together and that's it. Because it's going to look different for everybody. So it is going to take a second. And I know as a mom and as a new mom, like you don't really have time, but see if you could just be like, ask your partner or ask your mom to come over and like watch the kids and just go in your closet for like an hour and just try clothes on, pull things aside. What do you like wearing? What are some things you might have coming up where you're wanting to wear something that you need just time to plan? And then if you need to order something new, you kind of know what you're looking for. So you're not just like blindly shopping for, I have no idea like what I even like or what I even would want. I think it's you do have to kind of plan it out, but then you will be like, oh, I actually do feel really great in these like higher rise tailored shorts. It's summer. Like I want to wear that. Like what tops can I make work for me? Maybe it's going to be like a button down that I can tuck in that's got functional buttons. I can roll the sleeves up and that's a super cute outfit with sandals and like a good earring. I'm going to wear that to the doctor's office. I'm going to wear that to grocery shop and I'm going to feel put together and not just in, leggings and a t-shirt.
Yeah.
But it takes a little bit of time to kind of do some prep work.
Yeah.
And then you will know, okay, well, I've really loved those tailored shorts. I'm going to get them in another color. Or I really am loving maxi skirts. Here's the type of tops that are working for me. Or here's like the layering piece that I can throw on over that. So that's spend some time to like figure out where you want to be. And then just give yourself grace and remember it's just a season and it doesn't have to be your forever. You might find some pieces that you're like, wow, I really like that, like, here's how I'm going to make it work for me later too. So
Yeah. I feel like this goes for anyone who is looking for their style. This is something that I just told Brittany this year. I was like, I'm going to figure this out because summer is not my season. I hate being hot. And it's just the clothing always made me very uncomfortable because I did not want to live in my own skin. Whereas now it's like, okay, I'm going to work with what I do have right now, while I'm
Yeah.
trying to work towards where I want to be. I still want to feel comfortable and cute.
right.
So I think taking that advice, because you've given that a lot, like take time with what you do have and see what works for your body. And I literally started a Pinterest board this year. I was like, what do I want my vibe to be this year?
Yeah.
Like, what am I seeing that I really like? What actually worked? I literally was pinning things,
Yeah.
like random things. And this was like the 2015, like nerd in me. I love Pinterest, but I've never really used it. I've used it for work. I don't really use
Yeah.
it for myself anymore. And I started pulling like this, like, it's almost what I've learned is like Euro girl summer.
Yeah.
Like that's what I love. And that's what I actually feel good in. So I did the same thing. I was like, okay, tailored shorts, actually, this style works great for me. I'm going to buy all 4 colors.
Yeah.
Okay, what top works best with that? Try it a couple. Okay, great. I'm going to get those in a couple of different colors, and almost created like a capsule
Totally.
where you can just build off of it. And I have not felt this good about summer in years.
Yeah, I
Decade-
know. I feel like
decades.
you're like rocking like pieces that in the past you've been like, yeah, I don't really do that.
Yeah.
Or I'll just like sweat to death in jeans because I just
Exactly.
like don't want to. And so it's been really cool to see you just like living in your shorts and skirts era.
Yeah. And guess what? I feel good.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Because you're confident. Like you left your closet being like, I know this works on
Right.
me. I like the way I feel.
Right.
I like the way I look. I feel good in my skin. And you left your house feeling those things. Whereas like because you planned it out,
Right.
because you tried it and it wasn't just like a rush. Anytime I feel like I'm in a rush putting an outfit, I like don't like it.
Oh, I
You
know.
know?
That was me this morning. I was like, well, I don't feel my cutest self because I changed my white shorts, but
Yeah.
it goes back to, I think where you always start everything is like, just create a capsule, like
Yeah.
a base
What are
point.
your like go-tos when you feel like you don't have anything to wear? What are you going to pull for?
Exactly.
What is like those fail-safe outfits? Create them, set them together in your closet.
Yeah.
Know that they are there for you when you're like in a rush or you want to look cute.
Yeah.
What are they going to be?
Yeah.
Those are them. And then experiment and build off of that.
Yeah. Love that.
Well, I feel like this was awesome. I hope that we can continue offering this advice. Maybe we'll even add this in a segment in some of our other episodes, just kind of rounding them out because I feel like we're learning from these questions and they're giving us ideas on kind of like what you guys really want to see when we're coming up with new series that we're doing over on Loverly Gray. So we've gotten some great things and I hope that this was helpful. We really wanted to do this as a way like that we were just kind of like chatting with a best friend. Like what advice would you give for somebody who's just sitting down talking with you? So I feel like it was really fun and there were some great questions in here.
Absolutely.
All right, friends. Well, we appreciate you listening today. Until next time.